News and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Good afternoon, I'm Sandra Bookman, and welcome to Here and Now. This afternoon, as we celebrate Black History Month, we'll discover the real story of Spinney Hill, a thriving African American community on Long Island that essentially vanished. Still to come on Here and Now, the story of an African American community in Manhasset that dates back to the Great Black Migration. The documentary Spinney Hill, the African-American history of Manhasset and Great Neck, tells a fascinating story. The clip you're about to see features interviews with community leaders who recall the thriving Black-owned businesses and homes that were surrounded by affluent North Shore communities.
If the clocks could turn back to those years.
My memories of that time period, of the people that lived in the community in that time period, they're golden memories. They're golden memories.
See, I'm speaking about history that a lot of people don't even know nothing about. Across from where the senior citizen is now, there was an old house in there. Old house. It was a schoolhouse. Indians built it. They used, people used to go to school in there. And that was out there when I became a teenager, it was still there. And they came and they eased it on down near the water. And then they eased it on the other side of the water. And then they eased it all the way out to exit 48. I know where it is. They eased it out to exit 48, you understand? And call it Resurrection Village. That's where it is.
Here in the studio this afternoon are the co-producers of the Spinney Hill documentary, Dedrick Johnson and Lloyd Means. Thank you both for being with me. Had either of you guys ever made a movie?
No, we haven't. It's our first.
So what made you think that you could make a movie? And you did.
Yes.
A fine one, I might add.
Well, Lloyd was always doing video work, so when he came to me to do this project, I had confidence in him and I had confidence in myself as being able to put together a story. Yeah,
and you did.
And we did, yes.
We did.
And how difficult was that? You had to do quite a bit of research to put together. Obviously, both of you grew up in Spinney Hill.
That's correct.
And so your heart was in it.
Absolutely.
And you knew a little bit of background, but you had to do some digging.
Actually, we did 2 years of digging. We did a lot of research, digging through old newspapers and doing off-camera interviews with people, that go back quite far, much further than we do. And yeah, it took us 2 years to compile all that and begin the interviewing process and editing process.
Yes. Lord, why was this important enough to the two of you to spend the time?
We grew up in a community, as you know. There was a gentleman named, and from the community, he read a book called 100 Years of Manhasset. And the African-American community was about maybe a couple paragraphs. And he came to me and he said, we should do something to show our community, because we have a history. Now, I knew a little bit about the history, but not that much. But once Dedrick started doing the research and we started interviewing people, I was blown away. I had no clue that this history actually existed that was kept from us.
Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, I think a lot of people are surprised that history existed because most people don't think of Black people on the North Shore, I think.
Yeah, well, Spinney Hill is located on the borderline of Manhasset and Great Neck, the two peninsulas on the North Shore of Long Island, just 20 minutes outside of New York City. And it's home to Jim Brown, the Hall of Fame football player, and home to Lloyd and myself, and the 20 other interviewees that participated in the documentary. And, so, I mean, once we thought about doing this project, we pretty much knew from growing up there. I had seen the buildings. I had gotten my hair cut at the local barbershop. I had frequented the convenience stores and so forth. So I knew what was there, and I knew who to approach in trying to get this thing, on the way. But
this was a thriving area of successful Black businesses, organizations that's not there anymore.
No.
And in your documentary, you talk about why it's not there and explain that for the viewers.
Well, there was an urban renewal project that levied a heavy toll on our community, and you know, as with all urban renewal projects, if you know, as it pertains to African Americans, if the community still exists after the urban renewal projects, then there's, you know, there's things that are constant, and some of those things are that the stores and business cater more to the affluent. The local school boards are made up of the more elite. Churches lose members due to displaced families.
It just changed the nature
the
of
community.
the community
loses structural support that every community needs. And so as a result of urban renewal, that's what Spinney Hill is faced with today.
And Lloyd, what's so special about Spinney Hill to you guys?
Everything. I mean,
yeah, we had a community center there. And this community center provided us with a place to go after school, allow us to explore different avenues of what we want to be when we grow up. Keep in mind, we're surrounded by very wealthy individuals. And among ourselves, we had to build our confidence because we're the minority in the community. But this community center gave us a hope.
You were nurtured.
It was amazing, and allowed us to become the men that we are today. If it wasn't for those guys, maybe we would never made this documentary because we would never have that confidence in ourselves to do anything. But that center was the reason why I really did it, because I want that center to get back to that level of helping the community again.
Okay. Now, how old of a community was Spinney Hill? How far back are we talking? When was it established?
Well, Spinney Hill, well, the Dutch and the Quakers, they came to, you know, they established that area or settled in that area in the mid-1600s, but they brought Africans with them. And so, you know, but we've concentrated more on the late 1800s up until the late to 1979. And that's where most of that's what we covered. But there were people that were there long before then.
But keep in mind, somebody had to cook and clean. I mean, just be honest about it. I mean,
that's what spurred the migration from the South to the North Shore of Long Island. The African-American migration from the South was that these wealthy families were building these great mansions, and you know, a lot of families came from South Carolina. Carolina being a palmetto state, they came out of, you know, picking tobacco and cotton and so forth. And here on Long Island, it was much more. The work was much more relaxed. There was chauffeur jobs, butlers and maids and so forth.
They came to work.
Yes.
And build their own lives and take care of their own families.
They came in the pursuit of prosperity, yeah.
Now, you guys have some events coming up where you're going to be able to showcase this. Tell me about some of those.
Well, we have a showing at the Manhasset Public Library. I don't have my calendar in front of me, so I can't be. It's the 15th
of February.
And I believe the Community Center has a showing on the 17th. So yeah, we've been pretty busy. It's been well received, and we're very proud of our project.
And when you look at the work that you've put together and how you've documented the history of Spinney Hill, did you become even more in love with the community?
The love was always there. It was
but you were reminded of those things that you loved about it. And
and plus, don't forget, we're still part of that community, so we had to get their respect and make sure they were happy with it. So
and they've been happy with it.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. Doing the interviews, you know, when the interview is talking about a particular place or something, sure, you really, you know, your heart, it touches you because you remember those times when a thriving African-American community,
Spinney Hill is the story of a lot of similar communities around the country.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you guys for sharing this with us, and good luck with the documentary, and we'll look forward to the second installment.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Please stay with us. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We'd like to hear from you, so log on to 7online.com/Here and Now. For Here and Now, I'm Sandra Bookman.